Welcome to this series of readings of the Mechanization concept, a manifesto by the Great Divine Director. There are 22 parts to these releases by the Great Divine Director. He has asked that they be read in the order of their release. I am Caroline Hansky, the reader. The teachings were given by the Great Divine Director through the messenger Mark L. Prophet in 1965. Permission was granted for reading them and making them available to the general public in audio form. These readings are from Mark and Elizabeth Prophet, The Mechanization Concept, The Mysteries of God on the Creation of Mechanized Man, Pearls of Wisdom, Volume 8, Teachings of the Ascended Masters, Summit University Press, copyright Church Universal and Triumphant, 1965. They are also published as Mark L. Prophet, the Soulless One, Cloning a Counterfeit Creation, copyright 1965, 1980, 1981, Summit University Press. Why would you want to listen to and or read these releases? Because the message in them is as important now, or even more so, as when it was originally delivered. The message is serious and ought to be taken seriously. The mechanical, non-human creation, not created by God ones, are among us and have been for thousands of years. We have taken on their consciousness to some degree and must free ourselves from it. Prayer and working on our psychology are two ways of doing this. But first, we must be aware of what the mechanical consciousness is. These releases by the Great Divine Director are for this purpose. What makes this so relevant at this time? If you are following the news of the development of robots for every conceivable purpose, then is it not curious that this is made to seem a new development? As these current robots are portrayed, they are obviously mechanical. Yet, just as obvious from the Great Divine Director teachings is the fact that the robots that have been on the earth for thousands of years appear like humans. We don't know the difference. Then why is it important to make us think this is a new advanced development? Something to ponder. The Great Divine Director is a cosmic being with many offices in the spiritual hierarchy. For example, he is a member of the karmic board in which he represents the first ray of God power. He is known as the Great Divine Director because he has merged his consciousness with the cosmic cycles of God's divine plan for untold universes of light. Great Divine Director is a title of an office in the cosmic hierarchy, given to the one who, by virtue of diligent application over the eons, focuses within his causal body the formula of the ascension for the children of God and the sons and daughters of the Most High evolving in this cosmos. The causal body is the spiritual part of us in which is stored our attainment, all merit we have ever accrued, our treasures stored in heaven. The Great Divine Director's causal body is a giant blue sphere that surrounds the entire planet. Thus, his attainment of cosmic consciousness qualifies him to ensoul the flame of divine direction on behalf of Earth's evolutions and untold lifeways beyond. The Great Divine Director long ago passed those initiations that placed him at cosmic levels of service and qualified him to become the Manu of the seventh root race. A Manu embodies the archetype for an entire life wave of souls who will incarnate on Earth at a certain period, including the divine image and likeness out of which they are made and the pattern of their destiny. The seventh root race is destined to embody first in South America under the Great Divine Director, and so he presides spiritually over the continent of South America. He is then the lawgiver and sponsor of the seventh root race, the one who holds the blueprint for the entire race of the souls who begin their embodiment in the age of Aquarius that is now dawning. Godfrey Ray King, author of the book, The Magic Presence, describes the Great Divine Director in it. This majestic being stood fully 6 feet 4 inches in height, with wavy hair that fell to his shoulders and looked like sunshine on gold. His robes glittered with points of light like jewels that flashed continually with the tremendous radiance of the power held under his control and obedient to his conscious direction. The girdle encircling his waist was a mass of sapphires and diamonds. From it hung a panel to a few inches below the knees. This also was a mass of jewels. End of quote. The great divine director has said, I pray that you will call to me, for I have within my consciousness the scroll of the divine plan for every living soul on Terra and in the vast beyond. The Mechanization Concept, a manifesto by the great divine director, Part R, Reality. To men and women who would become God-oriented, I would speak on that reality which frees from mechanical reason and experience criteria and will bring you to the feet of the master presence of your being, free at last from the enslavement of the finite self. Let us now deal honestly with reality, that we may cast aside the unwanted and the unreal. As the ladies and gentlemen of this 20th century take such simple objects as dishes from their tables and place them in an electric washing machine, they are completing with relative ease and in a most practical way a task which for generations has been most undesirable. The mechanical contrivances of this age have freed mankind from many undesirable tasks, and the future holds promise of even greater freedom. Now, I do not think that there are many who suppose that we, in our releases, would propose man's abandonment of these aids and assistances, and I feel certain that most individuals have grasped, at least in part, the message we have sought to convey. However, as I begin to discuss reality, I wish to make certain that all understand that we seek to free mankind from the mechanical sense itself, and not from mere apparatus. May I ask you then, if men should attain to the stature where, at a wave of the hand, the dishes would disappear from their table, to reappear when needed, all washed and clean, as recounted by Saint Germain in some of his previous writings, if this process would not be a superior method even to the electrical machine itself. Certainly the modern appliance is an improvement over the hand method, but I think the spiritual method is superior to all. The evolution of human thought and feeling, the progress made in the distribution of energy, and the acquisition of new sources of power upon the planet have started those who have been caught, time-wise, on the edge of the age where older methods are fading and the newer ones are beginning to blossom. As incoming youth accept the current modes of civilization so naturally, there is less wonderment at the marvels of the mechanical age. Now there are two forces at work which relate to scientific mechanization, both of which could have ill effects upon mankind. The one is the complacent sense of taking all achievement for granted, without appreciating or analyzing the tremendous efforts men have made to improve their lot. The other is complete absorption with mechanical concepts, whereby all is seen through the outer examination of physical science, which attributes both cause and effect to the material universe. This I consider to be likened somewhat unto a man gaining the world of mechanical ideas while losing his soul sense, that needs, as the greatest of all talents, to be nurtured and expanded. As Jesus said, "What shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" I often use the direct statement to expound truth and the law, for it cuts through all human equivocation. Men may toss aside the most beautiful jewel with a wave of the hand and deem it but glass or claptrap. But if the sparkle within the stone is significant of its true value, then no amount of human attempt at devaluation can rob the object of its cherished quality. Let us then first take the direct line into the realm of appraisal and evaluate now some of the conditions existent in society today. The purpose of life is definitely not for the attainment of name or fame, or even the accumulation of the world's goods under seal of temporal power. But if it were, In order to successfully accomplish this goal, it would be necessary for men to seek their fame from God. Surely he who sees all the inward purposes of mankind would unmask those who might seek to attain a place in his kingdom without the use of his virtue and purity, and this would be done quickly if wisdom had her perfect way. The impact of the idea of personal advancement in a status society is very great today, and the forces of education have been deployed around mortal attainment, whereas the attainment of immortality plays second fiddle, as mankind would say it, to the pure purposes of the reality of man, which are undermined by the unreal human miasma to which mankind pay allegiance. The tremendous accent which man and society have placed upon personal advancement has only reinforced the human ego and made mankind vulnerable to a host of psychopathic diseases, most of which stem from an exaggerated sense of self-importance and the frustration of non-fulfillment. There is, however, a definite weakness in the link between universal society and the individual. This lack of identification with universal purpose and almost total involvement in the mesh of self frequently manifests as emotional hysteria. The impact of overwrought emotions on the unstable mind oriented around self-attainment creates out of the unreal a false sense of existence. Like a rat caught in a maze, the human nervous system collapses, and men's hearts fail them for fear because of the tensions this hour has generated upon earth. Long ago we released the words, "From the unreal, lead me to the real. From darkness, lead me to light." The light of reality is always God-oriented, and it is just this simple, that God is light. The imprisoned splendor of his light, fragmented from the pure white multi-prismed rainbow beams, diffuses itself in substance, as in society, as a potential of the first magnitude. When men become God-oriented, they find that reality, which frees them from mechanical reason and experience criteria, and brings them to the feet of the master presence of being, free at last from the enslavement of the finite self. Let none suppose that we do not understand and recognize the need for order and discipline in the world of form. We recognize the need for law and the codification of law. We also approve of the training of the young in a properly directed manner, but we deplore the increasing tendency of society to train by rote, while ignoring the awful exposure of young life streams to the infectious delinquencies of the age. Some may take exception to me and suppose that society does not ignore these things, but I think that the self-centered orientation of many parents, with their tendencies to slough off their responsibilities to their children upon others, whenever and wherever they can, has caused them to utilize their offspring for the sport of their egos and prideful exhibition. While the nurturing and overseeing of the expansion of Christ-like qualities is ignored, many children are not taught how to relate their identity with their spiritual goals, nor are they taught how the domestic world of form is a schoolroom to prepare them for fulfillment in the cosmic universe of spirituality. I view with mixed emotions mankind's spatial explorations, perceiving both good and bad possibilities for mankind. Certainly the higher councils of the universe do not approve of the distortions in life practiced upon earth that bring about war, pestilence, inharmony, and disease. To export these commodities, or attempt to do so, to other systems of worlds would be a disaster for all concerned. On the other hand, man's attention being turned towards space can provide, if it is kept in proper balance and check, at least some expanded awareness of the universe. We hope this awareness will not provide a mere escape from the human snarl, but that it will be integrated into the thought patterns of men in a constructive fashion, so as to bring the greatest benefit to the planet and its people. Man's religious theology needs to be revised in the light of the expanding knowledge of the universe. This has never been a problem for us, for we have been continually subject to that revision which the continual unfoldment of the soul, known as expansion, necessarily entails. The word revision connotes this process. Precious ones, I think it almost trite when I ponder upon all that I've released in this series, that I've actually drawn out for you that which is real and that which is unreal. Like a child having a random pile of many-colored straws before him, you are challenged to extricate the one straw that is unique without collapsing the total structure of human thought systems. A simple hook of the mind in most cases will prove efficacious in removing the one concept which is the key to all future understanding. Having once extricated the key straw, all others may be eliminated if they do not fall into pattern. Mankind ought to find little difficulty in discerning truth if they base their deliberations upon the two criteria I have outlined in my discussions on that which is God-oriented and that which is unreal. I am real. The great divine director.